again. If you have followed any of my videos, you may have heard me talking in the past about a local flea market where a guy has essentially set up what he calls a record store. I believe it is a record store, but it's only open on Saturdays and only during the flea market. So anyway, I've found uncountable gems at this guy's place. He sells really good records in really good condition at really reasonable prices. I believe that his philosophy has more to do with spreading the love of good music than it does making a ton of money. Anyway, I don't get down there as often as I would like to, but when I do go, I always end up coming back with a lot of good stuff. At some point, somewhat recently, he had come across several bins of sealed records. So I'm not talking about new sealed records, but these are older releases that were still in the cellophane, still sealed. And so I went through them, and I found a bunch of stuff that I like, and just want to share that with you. So again, these are all older records, but all still sealed, so brand new in that sense. Some of them may be of more interest to you than others, so hopefully, by showing the first couple ones, they don't they don't make you turn it off and go to another video. Marty Jones, Unsophisticated Time. Marty Jones, singer, songwriter. Don Dixon, the producer Don Dixon, was her husband, I think, at one point. But anyway, Marty Jones, Unsophisticated Time. Bruce Coburn, World of Wonders. Dusty Springfield, this is called White Heat. It's obviously a latter period Dusty Springfield album, 80s, probably, was it 1982 it looks like? Probably an incredible 80s sound on this. As a matter of fact, in the credits, sometimes the drummer is credited to Lynn Drums. So we're even talking a drum machine getting credit on an album. So I don't know, maybe that'll be good, maybe it won't be. Jennifer Warnes, Shot Through the Heart. An old Bonnie Raitt album, just called Bonnie Raitt, so her first album, maybe. An old Linda Ronstadt album, again, sealed. All these are sealed. This is hand sewn. Eric Anderson, sort of a American folky. I've seen Jeff and a couple other people talk about his albums, at least Jeff, anyway. But anyway, I've a couple things by Eric Anderson, and I like him. I like what he does. So I can't go wrong picking that up. Matumbi. I don't know anything about Matumbi, but they're a reggae band, and I love reggae. And this is sealed, so that right there was enough. None of these were very expensive. They were all, $1. Sort of thing. Richard Pryor. Is it Something I Said? From Richard Pryor. This one's not sealed. Still in the cellophane, but not sealed. This is the soundtrack to Trouble in Mind. A number of these are actually soundtracks. So this is the soundtrack to Trouble in Mind, featuring Mark Isham, the trumpeter Mark Isham, and Marianne Faithfull. So I'm looking forward to hear that. I'm a huge Marianne Faithfull fan, and I really like Mark Isham, or Isham, I don't know how you say that. But anyway, giant Marianne Faithfull fan, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. That's actually the one, I was going to say that's the one in this bunch that's not sealed, but I think there may be one more coming up here real quick. Soundtracks from Tony Banks. Tony Banks, the keyboard player from Genesis. Soundtracks. So these are, it's sort of a collection of songs that he did on various soundtracks. And there's one song on here called Shortcut to Somewhere, featuring vocals by Fish of the band Marillion. And I was really pleased to find this too, unsealed, This is a 12-inch for Shortcut to Somewhere with Fish and Tony Banks, and Fish wearing a Genesis t-shirt and Tony Banks wearing a Marillion t-shirt. I thought that was kind of cool. So again, from the album Soundtracks, Tony Banks. Another soundtrack here, Absolute Beginners. This is featuring Bowie, David Bowie, Sade, Style Council, Ray Davies. Anyway, Absolute Beginners. Someone saw fit to put a price tag right over Bowie's face. That is wrong. That is just wrong. Soundtrack for Something Wild. Not really sure which way that goes. But anyway, so we've got UB40 on here, Steve Jones, Oingo Boingo, David Byrne, Fine Young Cannibals, Jonathan Demme film, Something Wild. Soundtrack for Less Than Zero with Public Enemy, Aerosmith, Roy Orbison, The Black Flames, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Poison, LL Cool J, Orange Juice Jones, Glenn Danzig, and the Power and Fury Orchestra, the Bangles, and Slayer. Slayer doing Inagata Davida from the soundtrack to Less Than Zero. Really pleased to find this one. Rock and Roll High School. Sealed. A copy of Rock and Roll High School. This is the soundtrack for the movie that involved the Ramones. Pretty much the entire side one are Ramones tunes, along with Nick Lowe and Eno. And then you got Devo in here, you got Eddie and the Hot Rods, Brownsville Station, Todd Rundgren, Alice Cooper. So Rock and Roll High School soundtrack, sealed. Awesome. Now we're moving away from the soundtracks a little bit. This is Talk Talk's Color of Spring. I already have a copy of this. I pretty much adore anything that the band Talk Talk does. This is an interesting album in the sense that it's a transition from their sort of synth pop, new wave period to the more esoteric kind of out there in left field kind of stuff that inspired the entire post-rock subgenre. This is called Color of Spring. Fabulous album. Really, really fabulous album. And just thrilled to find it sealed. Jethro Tull and the London Symphony Orchestra. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of orchestrated versions of rock songs. This one actually does feature Ian Anderson and Martin Barre, Peter Vitesse and Dave Pegg from Jethro Tull. So they're actually playing on this record. Just thrilled to find a sealed copy of that. It's fantastic. This is actually one of my favorite orchestral. This is kind of what I was saying before. I'm not a big fan of orchestral versions of rock bands, but this one I absolutely adore. And I tend to listen to this one a lot around Christmas time too. It feels Christmassy to me, without being, Christmas songs, which kind of get annoying. So, fabulous album. If you like Jethro Tull at all, and you don't have this, it's called A Classic Case. The London Symphony Orchestra plays the music of Jethro Tull, featuring Ian Anderson. If you don't have that, and you're a fan of Tull, pick this up. It's fabulous. The last two are going to be kind of experiments, although not entirely. I'm familiar with the music of Ravi Shankar. This is Ravi Shankar and Yehudi Menuhin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Somebody correct me if I'm not. But West meets East. Menuhin, obviously a violin player, fiddle player. I don't know whether, if you're talking about traditional Indian music, I'm not sure whether you call that a fiddle or a violin, or if it's got some other name. But then, obviously, Ravi Shankar on the sitar. So, East meets West, or West meets East, rather. It's on Angel. Right? Angel record label. And then also, finally, part 2, album 2 from the same guys. Yehudi Menuhin, and Ravi Shankar, West Meets East, album 2. So, pretty thrilled to find those things. It's like, I mean, very often you don't find brand new sealed record albums in the dollar bins. So I'm just really thrilled with that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all later. Feel free to make a comment, by the way. See you later.